All right, guys, the NBA playoffs are here. I'm super hyped, so I'm going to be ranking all 16 teams based on how likely they are to win it all. So this first tier of teams is going to be teams that really just don't have a shot at winning the title. I don't want to waste too much time with them. But at 16, I do have the Phoenix Suns, and this does hurt me a little to do because Dillon Brooks is my guy. Colin Gillespie, another one of my favorite players in the NBA. Jordan Ott, phenomenal coach. But they do have to match up with OKC, who's just on another level this year. Defensively, just an absurd team. Even if you take Shea off of OKC, I do think that they still win this series in 6 games max. But with Shea, I think this is a sweep. Maybe at best 5 if OKC has a bad shooting game. I will say, though, any playoff series with Dillon Brooks in it is must-see TV, and I will be watching every second of the series. Now at 15, I do have the Portland Trailblazers, who I am more high on than most people. I think Denny Avdija is one of the best players. I'm going to stop right there. He's not one of the best players in the NBA, but he is getting there. One of my favorite players to watch. Donovan Clingan versus Victor Wembanyama will be a great matchup, though. I think that we haven't seen Wemby play a lot of minutes this year, so seeing him play a lot of minutes in a playoff series would be very interesting. And he is very injury prone, so maybe if he gets hurt, Portland steals a couple more games. Maybe they even win this series with the Wemby injury, but barring injury, they just don't have a chance of winning the series. And maybe even if Wemby does get hurt, they make it out this round, but we're talking about winning a title here, so they would have to play Denver, Minnesota, and then OKC, and then whoever comes out the East. It's just not happening. I'm sorry, Portland fans. Now at 14, I have the Orlando Magic, who I do think are the worst team in the playoffs, but they are in the Eastern Conference, which gives them the benefit of not being the team least likely to win a title. And they have just been tough to watch all year. The addition of Desmond Bane really hasn't helped them that much offensively, and Paolo hasn't taken that leap that we've all expected him to at this point. And one of the issues with Paolo's game is that he just settles for way too many middies. Shout out my guy, Georges Niang. He made the comment. We all saw it. I'll put it in the video right here. But they are in the Eastern Conference again, and maybe they take a couple games from Detroit, and the East is just so wide open this year. I got to put them at 14, but again, they're in this tier for a reason. No shot at winning a title. Let's just get on to the next team. Now in our next tier of teams, we have teams that have no chance of winning the title, but I didn't want to put them in the same tier as those bottom 3 teams, so they get the benefit of being in the next tier. So I have the Toronto Raptors and the Atlanta Hawks, and the issue with these 2 teams is that they just don't have the star power to win a title. The Raptors and Hawks could both win a first round series, which is why they are above the other 3 teams. But when you talk about winning a title, it's just not happening. Shout out to the Raptors, though. Great year. Atlanta Hawks have been red hot since the trade deadline. Maybe they beat the Knicks in round 1, but when you talk about winning a title, I just don't see it happening. Maybe I'm wrong, but we'll see. Now in its own tier, I have the Philadelphia 76ers. I don't even know what to call this tier just because they've been such a weird team all year, but they do have the star power of potentially winning a title. I don't know when Joel Embiid is going to come back. Maybe Tyrese Maxey gets red hot, steals a couple of games from Boston, and then Embiid does come back and they make it out this first round and go on a miraculous run. But we're talking about winning a title here yet again. I just don't see it happening. But what Philly does have going for them is that they have the best player up until this point on the list in Joel Embiid. Devin Booker on that level. I do think that Joel Embiid can be a number 1 on championship team still if he's healthy, but he just can't be healthy. But maybe somehow he stays healthy and they win a title this year. Who knows? They are at 11 though. Now at 10, I do have the Houston Rockets, who have had a relatively disappointing year. They are at 10 though. I do think that the loss of Steven Adams and Fred VanVleet has hurt them tremendously, especially Steven Adams. He was so good last year in the playoffs. I know you guys remember that series versus Golden State, but with him going down and having no real offense outside of KD and Şengün, it's just hard to see them winning a title and getting past OKC in round 2. And moving on to the Rockets' first round opponent in the Los Angeles Lakers, they are at 9, even though they are massive underdogs to lose in round 1. But if LeBron can steal a couple of games and get Luka and Reeves to come back, maybe they get red hot on offense and go on a miraculous run to the title game. Any team with LeBron James on it always has a chance, which is why they get the benefit of being at number 9, despite having 0 depth on offense and defense. They are at number 9. Now at 8, I do have the Cavs, who are on that same tier as the Lakers and the Rockets. They are very talented, but the lack of Mobley, Allen, Mitchell, Harden minutes makes them very hard to pick to come out of the East. The East is wide open though, and they do have a relatively easy path to the Eastern Conference Finals, which is why they are this high on the list. Now moving to our next tier, we have tier 2 contenders, and at 7, I do have the Minnesota Timberwolves. What they have going for them is that they have great experience. They made back-to-back Western Conference Finals, and I love the addition of Ayo Dosunmu at the trade deadline. When it comes to Minnesota though, the key question is that can I see Ant breaking through this year and finally winning a title? And the answer to that question is yes, I could see it happening. And with Chris Finch coaching for his job this year, I could definitely see the stars aligning and Minnesota winning their first title. Now at the 6th spot, I know their fans are going to be very mad at me because they've had such an amazing year. I do have the Detroit Pistons. Phenomenal year for Cade Cunningham, who's having an All-NBA first team caliber year. but his high usage is really concerning to me. And when I look at the Pistons, I say, who is going to help you guys offensively in a 7-game series outside of Cade? And when you look at past championship teams, normally they have a very good secondary ball handler who can take over a game. And I just don't see that with the Pistons, which is why they are at number 6 despite having such a good record this year. Now at the number 6 spot, I do have the New York Knicks, and the Knicks' benefit is that I just saw them beat the Celtics last year, who are the favorites to come out the East. And people love to point to the Jason Tatum injury, but the Celtics were about to go down 3-1 anyway. So the Knicks do match up well with them, which is why they are above the Pistons, and we saw the Knicks beat the Pistons last year. So coming out the East, the Knicks have a great chance this year, and their best chance that they've had. And if they don't come out the East this year, I do think it's time to consider blowing up this team, while guys like Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby still have very high trade value. Moving on to number 4, I do have the San Antonio Spurs, which feels very low. But the reason why I have them this low is because Wemby has been very injury prone throughout his career. I also have a lot of questions about their offense late in games, but I still wouldn't be surprised if they win it all. When it comes to the Spurs though, they will have the best player in most series that they go into, in Victor Wembanyama. But he has been very injury prone. But if you tell me Victor Wembanyama is going to stay healthy, I'll probably put them at number 2, but I just can't trust that at this point given his track record, which is why I put them at number 4. Now at the number 3 spot, I do have the Boston Celtics, who are championship tested and are my favorite to come out the East. My question with the Celtics though is, can they guard the dominant bigs out west in Victor Wembanyama and Nikola Jokic? If they can, I could easily see them winning their 19th NBA championship. And at number 2, I have Denver, who's battle tested, Jokic and Murray, Payne, Watson, Brown, and Cam Johnson. But Payne, Watson, Christian Brown, and Cam Johnson need to step up in a potential matchup with OKC to get Denver over the hump yet again. And when it comes down to Nikola Jokic, he still has a lot to prove if he wants to enter top 10 all-time convos. When you look at 3-time MVPs in the past, the only 3-time MVP to only have 1 title is Moses Malone. With all due respect to Moses Malone, I don't think Nikola Jokic wants to be in Moses Malone combos when his career is all said and done. And at number 1, I have the OKC Thunder. When you talk about going back-to-back, no team has done it since 2017-2018 Golden State. But this Thunder team is a defensive super team, and they also have an MVP candidate in Shea. They're battle-tested and have a very easy road to the Western Conference Finals as well. When you look at OKC, I think their best strength is that they have amazing positional size. You look at Shea, he's not an amazing defender, but he's a 7-foot wingspan. Every player on their team is long and they can all defend, they can all switch. I'm taking OKC to win the championship this year. They check every box, elite defense, real depth, and a closer in SGA. All right, that's my full ranking from 16 all the way to 1. And yeah, I've got OKC winning it all. Let me know where I'm wrong because I already know some of you are going to disagree. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.